It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Jen Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it's great to have you in studio today. We're sitting down with Tyler Goodman, assistant to the Prescott City Manager. We're talking about Change for the Better initiative that was launched how long ago, Tyler?
Just under a year ago.
Just under a year ago. And we had a press release from you guys, I want to say...
Probably April-ish last year.
Yeah, and then there was the most recent one that came out towards the end of the year that was like, look, the program is working. It's off to a good start. This is what we've accomplished so far. Right. So we're gonna look at the program, how it got started, why it got started, and then where it is today. For the city of Prescott, just go to prescott-az.gov is the website, and this information that I have in front of me was right there.
That's right.
I'm
it's
sure
on there.
More you could find there as well. So let's get right into it. What was it that was going on in the city of Prescott to make the city say, okay, we need to do something about the panhandling and homelessness in the area?
I don't think there was any one event or set of circumstances. Mayor Mangarelli, when he was running for office, this would have been in 2017, he said he heard a lot on the campaign trail that people were mentioning, well, what are we going to do about the homeless or the panhandling situation here in the city? And he wasn't concerned that there was an epidemic in the city, but there obviously was a presence of those who were panhandling and the homeless. And he wanted to find solutions to help that were compassionate but firm. Compassionate in the sense of if someone is really down on their luck, truly needing services or money or help to get back on their feet, that we could help supplement that without becoming a nonprofit, because we're not. We're a city. And so we worked really closely with the local nonprofits, the Coalition for Compassion and Justice, U.S. Vets, Catholic Charities, Prescott Area Shelter Services, and others who met together a few times with us and talked about ideas. We did research and looked at other cities across the nation. Seattle, which is a much, much larger city, but they have a very large homeless problem.
They do.
And so we talked to a few folks there with some organizations and got some ideas and tried to create a few initiatives that wouldn't take away from what local nonprofits were doing, but just help supplement or enhance those things, and to be compassionate to those that need it, but firm with those who maybe are taking advantage of the charity of others or the system as a whole.
Yeah, fraud. City of Cottonwood did a similar thing with the police department, where they went out and actually made contact with the homeless and found out, okay, which ones need help and which ones are out here basically scamming the public for money every single day. And I told Tyler just before the show, my wife has a person who is supposedly homeless that comes in every day with his bucket of money he gets while he's out panhandling all day long, drops it into his bank account, and then he drives home. And so we see those cases where it's just, I don't feel like working, so I'm going to go stand out here. And if it does work, then it encourages more and more of it.
That's right, and that is a real thing. We've seen that in the city of Prescott as well. It's not, I wouldn't say that's the majority of people who are panhandling, but there's certainly an element that does that, who don't need to be, but who are because it's easy money, and they're taking advantage of the charity of others. So we thought, let's try to divert the money on the street, if you want to put it that way, from going to those people, but going locally to the organizations that can help get those needs filled for those who really need it.
So putting this together, did you put the Change for the Better together?
A lot of it, yes. I mean, I worked closely with the mayor on this, and we presented the ideas to the city council, who were all very supportive. So it was a large group effort, and our local nonprofits were amazing too, with giving ideas and giving support. They didn't necessarily support every single thing, but they were a huge part in helping form this and create this.
When you were putting this together, did you notice that social services, did they have any problems with reaching out to the homeless to say, hey, we're here, we can help you, we can get you clean clothes, we can get you a shower, maybe you need, because there's a lot of addiction and mental illness involved with homelessness sometimes too, so there's programs out there to help with that. Did you notice that they were able to reach out and help, or were they having a hard time reaching that population?
They actually really do reach out and help. They almost know these people, all of them by name, and some come and go throughout the year, some stay all year long, some actually go out into the national forest and live there, but then come in when they need for services. So they know them very well. And the city of Prescott, like most cities in Yavapai County and communities, there are many, many resources. If you need food, there is food. If you need clothes, there are clothes. If you need a shower or a place to stay, typically you can get that as quickly as you need it. So it's not a matter of not having enough services. I think it's just directing the charity of those who are wanting to give to panhandlers and to the homeless that they see, directing it to the right source. Because working with the nonprofits and service providers, they did tell us that a certain percentage, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but a certain percentage of those panhandling are not needing it, or they're they're using it for reasons that you wouldn't agree with if you're the one giving. So
Alcohol,
we thought,
drugs, cigarettes, things that you're not supposed to be. You would think it'd be food.
To fill a substance, right.
Right.
And you hear a lot of stories anecdotally that, well, I actually gave food to a man on the corner and he threw it away or he refused it. It's because in Prescott in particular, there is a lot of food for those who need it. So that's not really a big concern. But there was a lot of money being passed on the street. And also we're a tourist community. So the tourists come in, they don't necessarily see that same person on the street corner that maybe you and I see every day as we're going to work.
Sure.
And we might know them, or our police department knows them. But the kind people coming into town to visit, they don't necessarily know that. And so they feel they need to give. So we want to give them an outlet. Yes, be charitable, but here's a way that you can give knowing that it's going to go to the exact services that you were thinking it was going to go to.
And over the years, I know I've done stories with Prescott Police Department, other agencies over in Prescott too. The downtown area seemed to be the focus. That seems to be the hot spot for panhandlers. Is that accurate?
Overall, I think that's true. Yeah, the Courthouse Plaza and the surrounding a couple blocks out in each direction is probably the most. But there's also other locations around town, and you'll see one of our elements that we implemented was putting signage up. And the signage says essentially this: please help. Don't give to panhandlers. Instead, give to a reputable local nonprofit or through Change for the Better. And it cites the way to do that. And so we put those at strategic locations. For example, the Walmarts as you exit, or Costco. As you exit, there's always somebody there typically. So we put signs there, and we worked with those businesses to say, hey, can we put signs here? And we put them at a couple corners downtown, different locations where we had received a lot of complaints about people panhandling or being there for a long period of time. And I don't have any hard data to show that it's working, but anecdotally, from our public safety, fire and police, from people coming into City Hall saying, hey, I heard about this initiative, I'm actually seeing fewer people on this corner, or I'm seeing fewer people downtown. How did you do this? How is it working? And we like to think that it is compassionate but firm. So we're still taking in resources to help those who need it, but we're trying to be firm with those who are trying to take advantage of this.
See, I think that's the point that you're making right there, is that instead of me giving Tyler $5 because you look like you need it, you got a sign that says you need it, you've been standing there forever, so I give you $5, where does it really go? I mean, where'd that $5 go? But if I take it and we're going to talk about exactly, there's ways to donate that money safely to the city, and then it gets dispersed to the social services that are in the area.
That's right.
That'll take that money and then help the people who want to be helped. There are people out there there are people who choose to be homeless, and all right, that's your choice. And then there are people who are homeless because of mental illness or addiction, and they just can't quite get on the right track, and those are the folks we're reaching out to and trying to help and get back up on their feet and get them successful. Let's take a break. Website is prescott-az.gov. We're sitting down with Assistant to the Prescott City Manager, Tyler Goodman, talking about Change for the Better initiative. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Do you feel like people are avoiding you? Don't be a dreaded spreader. Protect yourself and those around you from flu. Here's 3 things you should do. Get a flu vaccine each year. Take everyday preventive actions to stop the spread of germs, like covering coughs and sneezes and washing your hands, and stay home if you're sick. If you do get the flu, contact a healthcare professional right away and take flu antivirals if prescribed. Don't be a dreaded spreader. Take 3 steps to fight flu.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter, your religion or, what part of the world you're from, that just sort of all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
Yo siento que soy parte de esa bendición que ese niño recibió al irse a su casa ya sanado.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Mandalay Homes introduces the new Ion Series, a revolutionary new approach to home building innovation and energy management. Built on a foundation of industry-leading energy efficiency and sustainable building practices, the Ion Series home redefines how we use and manage renewable energy. Contact a Mandalay Home sales executive today to learn more, or visit one of our Ion Series communities throughout northern Arizona.
Welcome back to Countywide. Great to have you along. Tyler Goodman, assistant to the Prescott City Managers in studio today. We're talking about the Change for the Better initiative for panhandling and homelessness within the city limits. And it's something Tyler and everybody else in the city kind of put together. And we've been almost a year into it, not quite a year.
It'll be a year in April.
In April.
Yeah.
So, but it's working well enough that you guys felt like you could set something else out less than a year down the road and say, hey, you know what, change for the better is actually changing for the better. So obviously you said just before the break that you were hearing from the public that things seem to be getting a little bit better.
We are.
Yeah, so there's that. So exactly, back when you sent out the first release, it was it's a marketing campaign to encourage residents and visitors to donate to the Change for the Better initiative, with the proceeds being shared among local services providers. So we talked about Catholic charities and those types of things, and then used to further the initiative instead of giving directly to panhandlers. So now when I give you, I'm not giving Tyler $5 anymore. If Tyler wants this $5, you're going to have to go through the proper channels to get the $5, because that $5 may go to a couple of T-shirts or something that's going to be sitting on a shelf. So if I need a clean shirt, I can go get a shirt, stuff like that. And then it said there was 4 collection meters around the downtown area. Explain to me how my money goes from my pocket into somebody who needs the help that they need.
Yeah, good question. And it's a pretty simple process. There's a few ways to do it. Now, one is the collection meters, and when I say that, they're literally old-fashioned coin parking meters.
Okay.
We put 4 of them downtown on each side of the courthouse plaza, and we actually just added 3 more, so there's 7 total now. But they have a little sign on them, and it might be kind of cheesy, but it's homeless donation station, and people have the opportunity to put coins in the meter, and they can feed it, and we collect that every week. And actually our citizens on patrol from the police department have that as one of their responsibilities, to go around and collect it.
Nice, okay.
They bring it back to City Hall. It's deposited into a specific specified account for this purpose, for Change for the Better. And we actually, there was so much success with that. And these canisters, and I actually did it for about a month myself. I went around each week and collected the coins just to see how much we were getting. And the canisters are pretty small in these meters, so they would get full, especially in the summer months when there were a lot of tourists, a lot of activities downtown. They would be stuffed, and they would jam because there were so many coins in there.
Oh, wow.
Which was great. And you wouldn't think it, but coins can add up. And so for the first few weeks, we were collecting $100 or so just out of coins every week.
Okay.
And we thought, wow, that's more than we thought we would be doing. So we decided to add cash boxes onto a few of them right now. We might do it on all of them, but we wanted to see how that would go. That has also increased the revenue coming in from this. And we created an online option. So back to our website, prescott-az.gov, if you go to the search bar and hit Homeless Initiative, you'll see our page. From there, you can see all this information. You can see who has been awarded grants. You can donate online if you want to donate to this. and you can see a lot of other information. We also have resources there. I'm kind of getting on a tangent, but resources to help those who are in need.
No, keep going.
Yeah, so
really,
tangent
away.
Yeah, so it's it's a good website. It's pretty holistic in that sense. But the money then, it's in that account, and we've created a grant process, and it's a very simple, it would probably take a nonprofit organization 5 minutes to fill it out. And we've capped each request to $250 just because we weren't sure how much we'd be bringing in.
Sure.
And I should mention, so far we've collected just over $3,000. Most of that's out of coins. And we started doing this in about May is when we had the meters up.
Okay.
So I'm pleasantly surprised because I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And $3,000 that has been taken off the street, off of people who would be giving to panhandlers, but now it's going through this program. So that money's there, and service providers, nonprofits, we require it to be an organization.
501c3.
Yeah.
The typical.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they all have to provide that information, the IRS forms just to prove and all that. But we've worked closely with all these people, so we pretty much know them by now.
Sure.
They will tell us what the money could be used for specifically. And the city has identified really 2 areas that we want that money to go to. One is to fill transportation needs. So if they need mental health services, if they need health care in general, if they need to get to work, if they need to make a car repair, stuff like that, or housing. So the Coalition for Compassion and Justice, for example, in Prescott, a wonderful organization, they have low-income housing. They have subsidized housing, and that money could keep someone in a house for a good amount of time. So it gets them off the street and gives them maybe a chance to start a job and hold on to a job long enough to get on their feet.
Sure.
Those types of things.
Sure.
So they'll explain what they're going to use that money for. And it comes to a panel, essentially, of me. The city manager has participated before. Councilwoman Alexa Scholl participates. And then we have a resident and a man who works at a business downtown who was very interested in the program. So he's kind of our non-city, unbiased opinion holder of, is this money going to what we initially envisioned it going to?
Okay.
So amongst us, we talk about it and we say yay or nay. And there's only been 3 requests so far, but they've all been granted. So $750 have been pushed out there to help people in those specific needs. And we are open to applications. And we do limit it to City of Prescott nonprofits
Sure.
or service providers.
Sure.
But we encourage anybody who meets that to apply and get some of that money.
So there's not a period of time when the social service groups can come in and say, okay, it's grant time for the City of Prescott to pick up on these Change for the Better dollars that you've been gathering. So if I was a nonprofit and I wanted to help the homeless, I could just come up and give you a quick grant application and say, hey, would you mind? I've got this idea. I could take 2 homeless people, clean them up, haircuts, teach them how to do a resume, find out what their skills are, this and that, and try to get them back on their feet and out the door and working again.
It's pretty much like that. It's open all the time.
All year round.
It's a never-ending
Because, some of those grant process, it's like, okay, now it's grant month.
Yeah.
Time to get your grants in.
There's a cycle.
Right.
Yeah.
But this one's open all the time.
It's open because we're collecting all the time.
That's very open as well then. That's really nice. And you sit over $3,000 now.
Mostly out of coins.
Mostly out of coins.
To be honest.
Well, yeah, I don't like having coins in my pocket.
I know,
either.
I don't either.
I have a big change jar at home, and you would be surprised at how much change goes after a year, how much
really does.
gas you can buy with the change jar.
Yeah.
Any other plans to further expand the program now that it's been doing so well?
There's a couple other elements that I think are definitely going to keep going, hopefully expand. So part of the compassion side, we wanted to create a work program for those who are panhandling, specifically those who are panhandling. And the Coalition for Compassion and Justice, once again, they really stepped up and partnered with the city on creating this, they call it the Workers' Progress Agency. And what it's done is given up to 4, and they happen to be men, 4 men who literally were panhandling on the streets of Prescott. They approached them because they know them by name. Would you rather work than panhandle? And these 4 said yes. Yes, I would. So we've had an agreement with the city where we have provided an old van that we had, an old trailer and some old tools. And we've worked an agreement to where they have that. They have, CCJ, I should say, has a supervisor for this program. So they get these 4 guys out, and they've worked on city right-of-way. with city parks, open space, kind of clearing brush or weeds or trees, things like that.
4 guys with a van.
Yeah, literally. And
But there's 4 guys that are no longer panhandling. They're off the street.
yeah,
and they're
minimum wage.
working.
Minimum wage for them.
See, Cottonwood's had a couple of success stories too with their panhandling homeless program, and I think everyone's going in the right direction. We got to take another quick break, okay? Tyler Goodman's in studio, assistant to the Prescott City Manager. Website again is prescott-az.gov. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
What does it look like when a life is truly changed?
I feel a sense of accomplishment because I built a house. This house has brought us financial independence.
It's a great place to raise a family.
Strength, fuerza. When I look back where we've come from to where we are today, it makes my heart very happy.
Potential. Potencia.
For me, this house means all of us together. Sorry.
Security.
Security.
Every family dreams to have their own house. This house changed our lives.
Habitat for Humanity is at work in your community and around the world. Through shelter, we empower.
We develop quality citizens who keep our core, our country, and our communities side by side on the winning side. Not for glory, but for honor. For a code that isn't written or spoken, but lived. It's what we do. It's who we are. It's the battle cry of our fighting spirit. Battles won. See all the battles Marines fight to win at marines.com.
Couple minutes left in the program. Again, if you want to know more about Change for the Better initiative, go to prescott-az.gov. You said to homeless?
Yeah, search. There's a search bar. Search homeless initiative.
Homeless initiative, and I think I just typed in homeless, and I got to what the information that you guys have sent me too. So, anything else we really need to hit up before we? Let me ask you this question: do we know if law enforcement is going around and making sure that the fraudsters aren't defrauding people?
That's a great question. It's probably hard to prove it, I would imagine. I would like to think that, and I guess fraud in the sense of those who are not homeless but are panhandling. I guess that's,
for instance, like Cottonwood PD had a guy who had he had the nose hose going in the oxygen, and then he had the hose going down into this big jacket pocket. Well, when they went up to talk to him, the hose is not attached to anything. That's just, it's a sympathy ploy to get somebody. Somebody had a plastic baby in a carriage that was all covered up, and she was pretending like she's a single mom with no money, needed money, and it turned out it's just a plastic baby.
Yeah.
You know, so I guess that's where I'm looking at that as fraud. That's fraud, you know. So
that's a great question. I don't know of anything specifically that we're doing. I'd like to think that those who are panhandling really need it. We know that not all of them do, which is why the program's in place to crack down on those who don't really need it, but help those who really want.
That's really the goal, isn't it? Is to stop the out the window handing of money, and instead putting it in the social service programs that have been out there forever, that our tax dollars actually pay for, and have those really go to work and help people out and get them back on their feet and get them productive members of society again.
That's right. Yeah, and the work program I was mentioning does that exactly, and there's some really neat stories from these guys who have been able to get back on their feet or go get another job.
I love that.
Simply because, and it's the pride of, I can work now, and I can be productive, and I can do something, and it's not skilled labor.
I can get behind that, and I can respect that. You know, I think that's really great.
Yeah.
Tyler, we're out of time.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming over.
Great
It was
to
great
be here.
meeting you. If you need something, let us know.
I will. Thank you.
Prescott-az.gov. That's today's Countywide. As always, thanks for watching, listening, and we will talk to you again next time.